as we end the month in this recording, we're almost ending the month. I like to reflect back of the month and see kind of where I am with what my expectations were out of the month. And I actually was doing some soul searching, and a memory came up from my past. And so my question to you ladies is similar of a question. It's more of, I was contemplating the process of a compliment. And I know we've talked about these in past episodes. Do you accept a compliment? Do you justify a compliment and that whole thing? But it really, in my soul searching, hit me a little bit on how our past kind of dictates how we accept a compliment. So, like, I was always taught when I got a compliment, like, don't let it go to your head. Don't brag about it. Don't do this, don't do that. And then the other day I was thinking about something my partner had said. It came out and he's like, oh, you really look beautiful today. And it triggered something in me. And Tracy G's laughing, but it wasn't a good trigger. It was actually a bad trigger, all the way back to the age of 16 years old. And I had a crush on this boy. And we had a makeout session, when you're 16, that whole thing. And I found out the next day he was telling everybody he had this makeout session with me. And my body was banging, but my face was full of acne. So he could never go out with me again. And to a 16-year-old, that's devastating. But that word ugly always, why are you laughing?
You bring me back to being 16 and youth and just stupid things and just that, like that. It's just.
But you don't think you have that trigger or that belief? Because that put like a limiting belief in me. Like, I still see my face with acne on it. And I did. I had acne till I was 30 years old. I had severe acne. And I had to train myself to accept a compliment. What I mean by accept means thank you. Not one word after that. No justification. No explanation. No self-talk. Like, and am I the only one? Do you guys accept compliments that easily?
Hell
Now I
no.
do. Now I do.
Pardon me?
Hell no.
What did you say, Tracy G?
I said now I do. I'm like, you betcha, baby. Like, I totally, and that's why I'm laughing, is because it just about in the like that, what, like, everything affected you like this big. And now it's like, no, I totally accept. Like, I cherish getting compliments. Like, thank you so much.
Right, but it was you had to switch something in your brain to
Oh
do
yeah.
that.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
You had to switch what that is. So I think it's um, important for people to understand that two things about compliments. One, how do you accept them? And what I mean by justify is, oh, Michelle, you look beautiful today. Really? My hair looks like a bird's nest. Oh, but thank you. There's a justification in there. Like you're trying to deflect that compliment. Michelle, I really like your outfit today. Really? Oh, I'll just pick this up at Goodwill or a thrift store, or I got it on sale. It was in the back of my closet. Nobody needs to know what your outfit where you got your outfit from. They just give you a compliment. But I would always put up these barriers, like, because I was afraid if I believed that, if I believed that, they were going to pull the rug out from underneath me again, just like that kid did at the age of 16 years old. And I can still remember where I was. I can't remember his name, and that's a good thing. I can remember where I was, and I almost can remember what I was wearing. That's how distinct that feeling is. That's how distinct we allow a feeling to take over our brain.
But I also want to suggest that it's the power of what people say. Like we sometimes think that our limiting beliefs are things that have been created over and over and over and over and over again. And that's not necessarily true.
Exactly.
We can have a feeling and think about ourselves in a specific way because one person said one thing.
And he said that. It was one thing. I was 16 years old. And I did have acne. He was correct. And the second habit I had to break myself out of in a compliment was looking for a compliment. Now, I know when you're like, you get all gussied up and you come out and you're doing something with your partner, of course you want to hear them pay you a compliment. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking more if I went out like to a party or if I went out somewhere with a bunch of friends or girlfriends and nobody made a compliment on something I wore or how I looked, I thought, oh, I must have looked fat that day. My outfit must have been off. Like all these stories started going in my brain. Like I would have these, yeah, these stories until one day I sat myself down and it was like, why does their opinion count?
But are you talking about compliments, or you're talking about you're allowing external everything is external validation then? So 16 years old, you were vulnerable and you let your heart flutter a
Yeah.
bit and exposed yourself in a, hey, and it was crushed like
Right.
little butterfly wings, those bad boys. And so you that external validation hurt you. Now when you're out at a party and you've put a lot of time and effort and no one acknowledges that, it hurts you. So is it compliments, or is it external validation, or is it people say, I see a little tail.
Yeah, the little tail. I'm sorry. And there's the toy. Excuse me. Yeah, that's what you have. When,
My speech ready. No, but do you know what I mean? Like, is
yeah,
it a
yeah,
compliment, or is it external
well,
sources? Just
yeah,
you're allowing define
yep,
things the way you think
yes,
about
right,
yourself.
yes. So yeah, because most compliments come from external validations, but that's just it. It's I was looking for external validation instead of just being confident in the way I looked. And if no one complimented me, didn't mean I looked bad. It just meant who knows anything. It could have meant 1,001 reasons. Sorry, 1,001 reasons why I didn't receive a compliment. But compliments used to be such a trigger for me. And maybe, like you said, Tracy G, I was looking more for external validation than anything else
Okay.
because of the beliefs I had in myself.
Okay. So now, if you have someone gives you a compliment at the time, don't you think it's somewhat of a disservice that you don't accept it just for what it is? And
I, oh, I accept them.
to that
I
person
accept
too,
it
like
now.
if I say, oh my
Yeah,
gosh, you look great, and then you go, and then I'm kind of like,
yeah,
well, why,
yeah,
Michelle, why can't I give you a compliment? Why are
right,
you now taking away my opinion?
right. No, you are correct. Now, I get a compliment. It's thank you.
Mm.
And sometimes I say, thank you, you made my day. You know, I just release it, not release it. I take it in and I don't have the need to validate that any longer or to justify it. You're right, Tracy. I came, you put it perfectly with the excerpt. Why take it away from the other person?
Yeah.
If that person wants to pay you that compliment, why take it away from them? I love the way that you said that.
Yeah. That's what I have to work on is because I immediately shut down and I have to work on that. Well, maybe that's what they think. Like, it's okay if that's what they think.
Yeah. And it is okay for them to think that.
Mhm.
We all have different opinions,
Mhm.
you
Okay,
know?
just wait. I gotta stop y'all.
You
So you guys are all feeling pretty confident in certain areas of your life. You could say,
Yeah.
I'm crushing it. I know this inside and out. I am queen. I know this all. But on the other hand, I'm not going to accept this because it brings back like why the hesitation? Why does that make you vulnerable that you might kind of second guess that compliment, where over here you're crushing it and no one could challenge you because you're like, I know my stuff. So why isn't that just the way you live across all areas?
I personally think that's a big ask for anybody, because I
Okay.
think you can be, in all areas of your life, there are different levels of, you have different beliefs. You have different beliefs about your capability, about what you can do, what you have worked on yourself. But there are other areas that, still need help, still need working, still need, you still need to talk to people about, not being able to accept a compliment, like all of those things. I don't think it's okay, if I'm like this here, it means that the line goes right across for all areas of my life.
But if you know that, if you have that confidence, that knowledge of, I know how to do that in this area, I don't understand why it's not being applied in others. I'm not talking about something new, out of your comfort zone, any of that,
Mhm.
that things. Like, I'm just saying, if I know how to do this in one area, why aren't I applying it to the other?
I think personally for me, it's limiting beliefs that I have that um don't come up enough. Like, it's not something that's like in the forefront of my mind all the time for me to say, I need to work on this. I got to work on this. You know what I mean? It's like,
Okay.
it's like what Michelle said. It's a trigger. Something
Right.
happens. All of a sudden, somebody does something, and you're like, "Oh, this
Yeah.
doesn't feel good, right?"
Right.
And it's
Okay.
that pocket over here that you've never really worked on, because it's not something that's affecting you on a daily basis. It's not something that's, keeping you from becoming your best self. It's just every once in a while somebody hits that whack-a-mole, and this guy pops his head up and goes, "Hey,
Yep.
you still got to fix me over here."
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And you can become, well, we all are. We're all very confident in very good aspects of our lives. But as Tracy E said, if there's something that all of a sudden triggers you and that belief comes up and those things come up, yes, we have the tools to recognize it and to understand it and to learn from it. I'm sorry about Miss Mona. And to learn from it, we just now have the skills that we have to start using those skills. And so I can stand in front of you now, Tracy G, and say, go ahead, give me any compliment you want. And you'll hear me say, thank you, without a second thought about it. Ask me that maybe 3 years ago. No. I would have said, oh yeah, I can do that. But there would
Mhm.
have been still certain compliments, certain ones. And it probably would be if someone told me I looked beautiful and that 16-year-old came boom right in my head. But on top of that, I also grew up in a house that I love you wasn't said a lot. You look nice today. You look, there weren't, the compliments weren't flowing.
Mm.
So I didn't grow up with that. My parents looked at me, but compliments, they didn't come out of their mouth.
Yeah, like for me growing up, I was always warned about compliments. Like
See?
don't like don't don't let this, like you said, don't let it go to your head. Don't get too big for your britches. Like it was like you have to take that compliment and you got to kind of like shut that puppy down because it's going to do something to you. So it was like, oh God, okay, I don't want to be different than what I am right now. So I'll just shun the compliment. And when you grow up that way, it's it isn't until somebody gives you a compliment that those feelings come up, that like now those
Right.
feelings come up. And I mean, I've had to work on that. I'm not there yet at all, because my immediate reaction is to shut down, and then I have to literally reopen myself to say thank you, I received that, because that's the only way I can actually receive it, is by saying I receive it, because a story starts to spin in my head about how the compliment isn't true. And as you pointed out, Tracy, it's not fair to the person who's giving you the compliment. They're giving you a
Mhm.
compliment because they really feel and want to express what their feeling is about you in that moment. But it is something that, when you're brought up with the don't accept compliments kind of attitude, it is hard to accept them. It's hard to just flip the switch and go, oh, okay, yeah, you want to tell me I look great today? It's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
okay. But if I challenged you on something with your coaching, you would
Mhm.
probably be able to come back pretty damn quick about, and I don't want to say put me in my place, but come back pretty quick about, well, Tracy, this is the way I see it. And so I don't understand. I know that this comes once in a while or whatever, it triggers you, but that goes back to your value of you, and you value you with your coaching, your value, so you can
Mhm.
go like this with me. But that's the value of you as a person. So if someone's complimenting you, you as a person know you're valuable and your value. Like, so I'm
Yes,
wondering about this wackadoodle. Like, you wouldn't just go, well, you know what, whack it back down. Like,
yeah, and it takes work to do that when
Yeah.
you have the belief that you can't let that compliment get too close to you. It's like you got to kind of create this space, because if you accept the compliment, you're going to become conceited, you're going to be too big for your britches, people aren't going to like you, and like this is what you're going to live with, right? So it's you accept that compliment very, very carefully. I did, like years ago, somebody said something to me, I would say thank you, but the story would spin in my head.
Mhm.
Like, no, Tracy, that's not really true. Let's not get too far ahead of yourself here. And not that it bothered me. It didn't bother
no,
me
no,
that I
no.
did that with the compliment, right? It
Mhm.
wasn't until I finally kind of associated the fact that if I'm giving somebody a compliment and they're thinking like that, I wouldn't want somebody to think that about me. I'm giving it because I genuinely
Yeah.
believe whatever it is that I've said. So it wasn't until I stepped into the other pair of shoes that I was able to go, hey, wait a minute, that's not fair. If someone's giving you a
Yeah.
compliment, that's not fair. Also, the realization that if somebody gives me a compliment, it isn't going to go to my head. I'm not
Yeah.
going to become a different person, right? But it's so interesting because when you have a limiting belief, when it's something that is ingrained into you, somebody does something and that trigger like it's like a whack-a-mole. It's like, oh, there it is. And then you got to go, oh yeah, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. But it's a conscious thought process that you go through. It isn't an instant like in your situation, Tracy, where you just simply go, thank you very much.
It can be. It'll get there. And this,
Yeah.
you know, you talk about Tracy E and I, both of ours, where our confidence level is, and we have it. And that example for Tracy E is perfect. She can, she can go and rattle off things within her coaching, this and that. And it will come also with the compliments as she gets you, as she keeps building her confidence.
I need more compliments, ladies. Come on.
Okay, you heard that, viewers. Start putting them in the comments.
There we
But
go.
it's like
That's
still
called
you
fishing
and you
for
do.
compliments.
Yeah. But it's also, I think it's an excellent point you bring up, Tracy G, that we're if somebody, if you're struggling with that, think about an area where you're very confident in it. You have the greatest confidence, you know, your work, whatever it is. And why do you have that? Like, why do you have that what's that skill set you have, and how can you pull that skill set? I think we get forgetful of what we're good at, and we ruminate in what we're not good at.
Yeah. And that's the
Where
human condition. Like we're
right,
designed that way, right?
right.
Yeah.
But if we spent more time in what we do good and pull that apart, a lot of your answers can be pulled over here to where you're struggling.
But it's also, I think, just that curiosity about the fact that if you're really good over here, but not so great over here, like why can't you carry that across the board?
Yeah.
It's like this thing over here doesn't mean anything about you as a person, about you as your self-worth or your value. It means that you have been taught something, that you think a certain way, and that can all be changed. It doesn't
Yes.
have to mean anything about you personally.
Yep.
And when that distinction gets made, excuse me, it changes. When the whack-a-mole shows up, it changes what the emotional response is inside. And that's
Yep.
where the beauty of that tool becomes, because it's when I do that, it's like, oh yeah, this is a conditioned response that I've done for 60 some odd years when someone has given me a compliment. But I don't make it mean anything about me or the person. It's just something that I know I need to work on. It's not like I have to believe or accept that compliment in a different way, if that makes any sense. It's not a belief thing. It's not like somebody says, you know, oh wow, you look really great. It's not like, well, that's crap. I don't ever look good, and like don't talk to me like that. It's not like that.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like I have to believe that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that literally a conditioned response. That's not true. Because I can't believe that, because something's going to happen to me.
I know, but you would
my
accept a
head's going to
compliment in
explode
your
or
coaching,
something.
no problem.
Oh yeah, if someone wants to tell me a great coach, you're right. I'm a
Yeah.
fabulous
I
coach.
just find that interesting. Yeah.
Because also, okay, that what is interesting about that is that is true for coaching. It was not true for telecom. When somebody would say to me, "You're a fabulous trainer. You teach so well."
Mm-hmm.
I was still back in that mindset. I hadn't done the work that I have done over the last, like really be able to apply it, right? And understand how to apply it, because I've been coached and assisted through all of that. I could not accept compliments when I was in telecom like I can accept compliments about my coaching. So that has been a learned process. That's been a learned process. Because my self-worth is completely different now than it was, 10 years ago, 6 years ago. I mean, I've always been into self-help, but it was like, okay, this is all great on words, but like, how do you apply this? Like, how do you make this work in your life, right? Like that, there was always that missing piece.
So bring it around. How can you apply this in your life? So if you're not accepting a compliment, how can someone turn it around?
To realize that it is, to realize, first of all, that you're not accepting it. And why is that? Be
Yeah.
curious about what it is, not self-judgmental about it. That is the biggest difference in anything, when we can be like, why do I think that? Or where did that come from? Who taught me that? Or what was said to me to make me feel that way? Excuse me. As opposed to, oh my God, he's right. Like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I'm a terrible person. Oh my God, right? Which is what most of us do.
Yeah. And it's easy for some reason to go, oh, they must know more about me than I know about myself.
Right. It's that
exactly.
worry.
What?
It's the worry somebody's going to see something about you that you don't want them to see, that somehow is there, but you don't know how it's being expressed, right? It's like, oh, someone's going to find out the true me because you don't feel good about who you are and your own self-worth.
I think we put too much credit in other people,
Oh, totally.
not enough in ourselves.
Yeah.
And I would probably imagine the episode I'm thinking of, if I ever was to find that person again and have this conversation, he probably would have never remembered it.
Yeah.
Ever. But yeah, it stuck with me.
He probably didn't remember it a month after he said it.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. But it stuck with me.
Yeah.
But
For
how often do we
45 years.
how often do we compliment ourselves? How often do you stand in front of the mirror and go, "You're looking pretty good, girl"?
Yeah.
Well,
Okay, Tracy, you're the exception.
You're the exception.
we want to get in how many times I do that, do we?
Well, you know what? If you do, like, kudos to
Do it.
you.
I know
Yeah.
someone's gonna do it.
Someone's gonna do it. And that's true. I mean, we should always compliment ourselves. And I think we do. I do on things I'm comfortable with. When I finish something really good with a client, I'm like, yes, today was awesome with that client. Or when I finished my race, I was like, yes, accomplished what I wanted to do. You're like, yeah, look at you did the work, Michelle. You did all that training. Look, you survived. You did this and this and this. But stand in front of a mirror and say, hey, sunshine, you look beautiful today. Absolutely not. And maybe we
try.
should.
It's fun.
Yeah, maybe I should. I think, Tracy, you and I should try it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even think of it. I mean,
Yeah,
there are times I
either.
think of it. There are times where, if I'll look at myself and think, you look pretty good. You look pretty good for 67, girl. You look pretty good. And, off I go with the day. But it's rare that I do that. And again, I think it's my upbringing of, that whole don't take it like you're going to get conceited. You're going to
Who do you
become a
think
bad
you are?
person. Who do you
Yeah.
think you are?
Yeah.
So it's that gets rooted, right? Which
Yeah.
is why we've got to be so careful about what we say to people.
Well,
You
it's
have
also
no idea.
that generational training. That's how we were brought up. And that's how my mother was brought up. Like it's a trickle down effect.
Sure.
And so,
but don't you think people are still being brought up that way, but just in a different way? They're not being said, they still have that, I guess, insecurity or limiting belief. It just is taught in a different way.
Yes.
I think
and
for
I think
women,
it's even more evident with social media.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I think for women, and I know we've talked about this before too, but I think for women, for us, you can be told all you want by your parents how beautiful you are inside and out, but you've got this whole media out there that says you have to weigh 90 pounds, you have to have this, you have to have that in order for you to be acceptable and beautiful and all of these other things. And like, the media out there is so much bigger than what we are. it's so difficult for kids not to assimilate that into what they think is beautiful and
Right.
what they need to be.
Right. So they
Right.
don't have their parents saying, don't, be conceited, but they have all this external imagery showing them what they should be. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
just
you pick up
so, and
any
that's why, because like
magazine.
you would think they weren't be the same as us, but they actually are. It's just worse that they see like I'm not adding up or measuring up to person on social
They
media.
see things so instantaneously and they're
Yeah.
giving feedback so instantaneously. I know we talked about it once back when we were teenagers. It was the magazines and movies and things. So it wasn't so in our face aspect of it, where now you can pull anything up and you know it's just
And images like a gazillion,
yeah,
like
yeah.
within like 10 minutes, you could be looking at 100 different bodies or hairstyles or whatever.
It's not even bodies. It is surroundings, it's homes, it's
Yeah,
clothing, it's
Right.
yeah.
cars, it's food, it's
Yeah.
jewelry,
Well,
it's expenses, it's
so I'm a
schooling,
piece of
it's
crap, right? Like compared to
yeah,
everyone else, I'm nothing, right?
right,
So how
right.
I can't
So
accept a
now
compliment because look at me.
someone walks in and gives you a compliment and you're like, what?
Yeah, what are you looking at, buddy? Like seriously, have you
Right.
not seen the internet?
Like,
You know?
right. So I think we need to understand, and that's a whole nother issue. The internet's only showing us what they want us to see. But anyways, let's get back to compliments. Let's get back to me. No.
See, you threw in the no. You threw in the no. Let's get back to me.
Oh yeah.
No.
No. See, it's that defense.
Mm.
Very good. It's the defense, and things take time. And give yourself time. When you catch yourself telling yourself a story, just say, why am I saying this to myself? Where did I learn it? Why do I feel it's true? If somebody tells you they love your outfit, they like your hair, you look beautiful today, I love your house, you cook wonderfully, I love whatever, say, thank you. And see how it builds your spirits up. And believe them. It's their opinion. If they want to share that with you, let them share that. Anything else, ladies? Nope.
I'm good.
So if you have any comments or would love to give us any compliments, you could put them down in the comment section. If you know somebody who can't accept a compliment, maybe share this with them. Maybe this will help them. And as always, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you click the notification button so you are told every Wednesday when our next episode will be on. And don't forget, if you like this episode, hit that like button. Until next time.
Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you as a regular member of our community.